Saturday Social, brought to you by EA Sports FC with PlayStation 5.
Ollie Watkins, again,
I know.
on absolute fire. And it got us thinking about this part. Brings us perfectly on to this next item.
Yeah, there's been some unbelievable strikers in the Premier League this season. So what we're going to do here is going to rank every club's number 9. We're going to run through all 20 teams, look at their striker, and as you can see, we've got a new scale on the Saturday Social whiteboard.
Explain it to me.
What was that noise? we got the temperature scale out. Hot is the best, cold is the worst. You're going to place all 20 players underneath it, you know, whether or not you think they've had a good season or a bad season. We're going to do it based on this season only.
Yes.
That's fair, isn't it?
And you need players who made 7 or more Premier League starts as a central striker this season to count. And obviously cold, hot being the best.
Yes,
cold to
absolutely.
hot.
Pick him up, Nieve. Let's start with Kai Havertz, shall we?
Yeah.
Oof. OK, so each club's number 9. We're going with Kai Havertz, who's made the most number 9 appearances.
Yeah, 25 starts, 9 goals, 5 assists. So where do you place him?
Starting easy, are we?
No, tough.
I'm quite on the fence about this in terms of in the middle section.
the middle?
So what is there a side of it that you...
He's fine. He's not... I don't even think... I just can't... He's not definitely a striker. And I think... I said in a video earlier this week when Arsenal went out, still available, by the way, guys, that he is...
Wow.
Good plug.
In terms of when you're playing bad and you need someone to get you a goal, I just don't think he's ever going to be that guy. That look, with these different players playing for different teams, there's different expectations.
Yeah.
But he's had a solid season and he's regained it after quite a miserable start where, again, he wasn't really playing as an out-and-out striker.
Yeah.
When we're ranking strikers, I'm struggling with him a little bit. And so I don't think... He's purpley.
Yeah, I think
best.
he's fallen victim to the fact that they've spent 65 million on him when they needed an out-and-out striker. They're a team that actually needed that, and they brought a player in who they knew wasn't going to be that. But he's been really willing to play anywhere. He'll play central midfield, he'll play higher up the pitch.
He's got the highest win rate of any striker on this list. Like, he does facilitate for players.
They're better when he's in the team.
Yeah.
They're definitely
I
better when he
agree. I
plays.
think they're better when he plays.
Is that, to your point, then, the reason why Arsenal might not get over the line in terms of win the Premier League title? Because we're going to come on to talk about Haaland, for instance, and the goals that he scores, that Arsenal are missing that 20-goal-a-season striker to win. Is that the one thing missing to get them a Premier League title,
Yeah,
you think?
because Saka's goals have started to dry up ever so slightly. Martinelli, I think that sort of they can get goals from anywhere kind of thing. Actually, even though it's good, it's almost also not good in the sense you do need someone who you can be reliant upon.
OK, stick him wherever
sort of
you think.
around the
So
middle
somewhere
area.
right in the middle.
You can always move around.
Yeah, should we say for me?
Yeah.
OK.
Ollie Watkins.
Oh,
Aston Villa's number 9.
19 goals, by the way, and 10 assists as well.
No penalties either in there, which I think is a big point. Like, some of these strikers...
Thank you very much.
Penalty merchants.
He's my number 1 this season. Easily.
Easily?
Look, I think in terms of the last 5 or 6, he's so hot right now, Smithy. He's had an unbelievable season. And I think, look, this list, it's an amalgamation of this season, of your expectations of that person, I think them and the team that they're playing in, and then the player himself. And he has gone to new levels. He's very, very complete. His finishing is fantastic.
Yeah.
He's played so many games as well. I can't put anyone ahead of him, personally. I think he's... Yeah. And in terms of them achieving what they're going to achieve this year, what we were worried about at the start of the season was if he gets injured, they're in massive, massive trouble. And, look, touch wood, sorry, Villa fans. But he's just been superb for them. Yeah. Absolutely superb.
Agree?
Yeah, I'll go even one up further. I think he's player of the season in the Premier League. And yeah, this year.
I don't hate that.
I also think the fact that across the whole Villa team, that they all mentioned that they've learnt why they do the things they do on the pitch as well as just doing it. And I think they just enjoy their football so much more for it. And he's just loving it.
He can do everything as well. He can do everything.
Yeah.
Amazing.
OK, next up, Bournemouth. Interesting one, this. Dominic Solanke. 17 goals in 32 starts, 143 minutes per goal involvement. So, good return.
What's going on? What's he doing? How is he doing this? It's so impressive this season, what he's all about. He's got like because he can score any sort of goal in the box with his head, his feet, but he's got this signature flick that he does with both, that he can do with both his left foot and his right foot in the box. But he's just so confident and instinctive with it at the moment.
I've been waiting for him to be good for a while, and I've sort of had to take the heat for that for several years. And I'm relieved that he's got to where you wanted him to be. Obviously, won the World Cup with England, under-17s, I think it was, back in a day. And it's taken a while, but I think he got enough games and then got his confidence off the floor in the Championship. He's fantastic in the Championship.
Yeah.
And now he's stepped back into the Premier League and been brilliant. And I would have him... I think we're getting our spacing just right. I'd have him kind of here.
I think even further, I think because we can put them below a little
you
bit.
can always put them below and build it below. Do you think I think Iraola has had a massive effect on his movement inside the box and his general finishing. Like, he seems so much more confident under Iraola now than at any other stage in his Premier League career. You look at those other 3 seasons in the Premier League, they were not numbers like we're seeing now.
Maybe
You want more?
right. That was just like
You can still put them up the top near the bar.
What else we might get.
I think,
Leave room for someone in between.
His conversion rates could be better. That's the one thing I would say about him. But it's an Iraola team that's creating chances, so yeah.
OK, next up.
This is kind of interesting.
Tough one.
This season, really.
We've had Watkins, Solanke and Toney in order, and
England
those
boys.
3 are very much discussed, aren't they?
Yeah. For you, is it Watkins that goes?
Yeah, Watkins that goes, and in terms of this criteria of form, I don't know if this is unpopular, but I'd be putting him slightly more towards this side.
Yeah, look, this is a tough one, isn't it? Because he's only got 4 goals, but he's not been playing the whole season. His conversion rate is 10%, which is bad.
So I think it's the second worst of any player on the
10.3%.
Yeah, so probably because he's come in a bit cold. Look, if this was like who's a better striker, then I think he's right up there, and been so much talk about his move this season. I'm not really... I know it sounds terrible, especially for this. I'm not really bothered where he is because I think it's a difficult one with him. But
It's a tough one because he hasn't played. To be fair, he's come back, hasn't played.
Where do you want to put him?
Start the season.
Yeah, I think it'd be unfair to the other strikers who've had 4 seasons, who perform really well, to put him much further than about here, I'd say.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been,
He's had hip issues, match fitness issues.
So low on the scale, but interesting, he could be the striker that makes the biggest move in the Premier League.
Yeah, and I think overall as a striker we would have him higher up. It's just hard to judge him based on this.
Yeah. OK, next up, Joao Pedro for Brighton. Still only 22 years of age.
Started the season off brilliantly. When he plays centrally in Europe as well. I thought it was superb. Sort of seen him move a little bit more to the left, and he can do both, still impacts the play. As a striker, that's maybe not necessarily been his role consistently across the whole season, but I think he's been good.
Yeah, I think he's only going to get better.
Yeah.
I think, say you put him in this sort of Solanke region in terms of how good he is, I think he's going to be possibly better, probably a bit more technically better than Solanke. But with the amount of chances that Brighton generally create, he probably, it would be unfair on Solanke, in my opinion, to put him above Bournemouth.
He's had problems with injuries as well. He's only started 14 games in the Premier League.
8 goals, 2
Tony
assists,
started
14.
12 at this stage, and he came into the side second half of the season, really. So big injury problems. We saw Roberto De Zerbi this week kind of bemoaning the fact that he can't play Joao Pedro. That's one of the reasons that Brighton are struggling so badly at the moment.
Yeah, they've had a few issues across the attack, Brighton, in terms of injuries, which has led them to struggle a little bit more towards the end of this season. I understand what you say, but I think that still you can't do an if but maybe to justify them being on level with someone like Solanke who's done it. So maybe slightly below.
I'd put him near. I'd kind of put him there. Personally,
I would want.
Been behind Havertz.
Yeah,
would
slightly
you?
behind Havertz. Well, yeah, because I think Havertz has been good this season. He's played throughout, and he's been useful to a team that is fighting for the title.
Havertz 9 goals, 5 assists in 24. Joao Pedro 8 goals, 2 assists in 14.
If I want someone to score a goal, I think if you put him in the Arsenal team, I think he scores more goals than Havertz.
OK.
Really?
Wow.
And he's got to be fit, obviously, as well. But
we'll put him on level then, if that's what you'd like.
thank you.
OK.
Good compromise. Next up, David Datcher Fofana, who again only came January in that loan move, so haven't seen loads of him.
He scored a couple of goals. The fact that he's not at Chelsea probably speaks volumes, but has had an impact in a short space of time for Burnley. I think overall on this overall list, I mean, sadly though, regardless of, hitting the ground running for a team that's really struggling.
A little bit lower than Toney, or?
I think we should utilise this side of the board a little bit here. I'm not too. I think he misses too many chances. I don't think it really works when him and Foster play as well for Burnley.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Oh wow. OK.
Oof.
Straight in. Right, next up, Chelsea. Now, we know a lot of Chelsea fans might be talking about Cole Palmer. We know Cole Palmer
not a striker, though, is he?
Of the goal-scoring charts with 20 goals, equal with Erling Haaland. But we are doing this based on strikers. Nicolas Jackson is the player that's played in that position the most. 28 appearances, 24 starts. So we're talking about Nicolas Jackson. Where do you place him?
What are you thinking, James?
Really tricky one. I think, look, for the chances that he's had, I think we were expecting more from him. I would put him behind Havertz this season.
Really?
Yeah, scored in the week, good goal, obviously against Everton. you know, he's arguing as well about penalties. So that's,
did you make
I'll
of
take
that
points
situation?
off that. I thought it was childish. I thought it was a bit pathetic. And I think that of any team in the Premier League, we know who the penalty taker is for Chelsea. It's Cole Palmer. So, yeah, it was schoolboy stuff.
He scored 10 goals, though, and, you know, for his fee, it was significantly lower than some of the others we're talking about on this list. And I also have to say, I think his build-up play has improved a little bit. Like, his back-to-goal play has actually improved.
I would like to put him ever so slightly higher. The only reason why is because I think Chelsea have had issues with their attackers in terms of how clinical they are, apart from Cole Palmer, all season. If you look beyond that and look at what he brings in terms of holding the ball up, bringing the other Chelsea attackers into play on the attack, I think that's been great. And actually, as we've seen throughout the season, he's got better and better in front of goal. He scored a goal recently that was really Drogba-esque, that was great. And I actually, I think he's been pretty good.
I don't doubt that he could come good. Has he had a better first season than either of these two at their club?
Yeah, Jackson or Havertz for you then, Nieve.
That's why I would chat.
That's
I think
a really good question.
He's third on the list in terms of worst underperformance by expected goals. I think he's underperforming his expected goals by about 4.
We might need a
minus
third
4
row
XG.
here. Do you want
Yeah,
to
he
meet
can go third row.
So Jackson and Havertz, Nieve, you can't split.
You allowed me Pedro, though, so
No,
you choose.
I'm not. No, this is not. I think you're right. No, you are right. I've seen that progression. Maybe I'm looking at the more recent form. I think he's got better and better.
He has got better.
So, but as a whole of the season, no, I think you are right. I think perhaps somewhere around this.
OK.
Yeah.
OK.
All right, Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
JP, we love Mateta. I love Mateta.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's had a really good season, Mateta. I think if you look at Crystal Palace's output in forward area, it's not been amazing. But I actually think he's been one of Palace's players of the season.
There ain't no striker better than Jean-Philippe Mateta. Boom, 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 boom. That's what they chant. But is there?
I worked with a Palace fan, and I said, what do you think of him? And he said, this is a while ago, to be fair, he said he'd be a great centre-back.
That's what the Palace fan said.
Yeah, the Palace
Wow,
fans.
that's harsh.
I think with him...
7 goals, 4 assists.
Do you know what, again, this is why this is an interesting debate, is that in terms of chances, he's probably getting a lot less chances than Jackson and Pedro. And his conversion rate's in the 20%,
He misses
which is
a lot
good.
of chances too, though. I think he's got better, 100%. I think since Oliver Glasner's come in, especially, he's got better. Adam Wharton as well. I've seen an improvement in Palace and therefore an improvement in him.
Yeah.
Do I still look at him and think going into a game I can completely rely on him to put away the chances? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Go on, whereabouts on the scale then do you think?
I think perhaps...
You've got Fofana at one end, Ollie Watkins at the other. Whereabouts would he be?
Yeah,
you can move Toney to squeeze him in if you want.
You go below Toney?
No, not below Toney. I'm sort of...
The UOCD as well. Got 3 of you.
It's frustrating me that's...
Yeah, you can peel him off. Peel Toney
him off.
And then
Move him to the right.
You can always move him down.
You move him above.
And then do that.
OK.
Okay.
And there's room in between Toney and Havertz now for
Oh, lovely.
a future player. Right, next up, Everton. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. James.
Look, with the format we've got, I like Dominic Calvert-Lewin a lot, but he's been so bad. So bad this season. You've got a stat on his expected goals this year, and actually the goals he has scored have been
underperformed expected goals by 6, which is, by a distance.
I think minus 5.9.
Struggling.
Yeah.
But he's had injury problems. He's had to battle back from that, hasn't he? And, I don't want to just bag on Dominic Calvert-Lewin because, he's had such a bad time with every time he gets going, it feels like he picks up another injury. And every time he scored a goal, the next week he's been injured. So
tough.
I think it's been a really, really tough season for him.
I think what it is, even though physically you look at him and you think he'd be fine under Sean Dyche, I actually think he suits Carlo Ancelotti's style at Everton a lot more than he suits Dyche. A lot more. You want him in the box. You want him to be an instinctive striker, scrambling around, getting the ball, getting in the back of the net. I don't think you want him to be someone that you lump the ball up to and say, go and do the rest.
He's got the best aerial duel success rate in the whole league.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Which is great, but I think he misses Richarlison as well. If you think of the season that they were great, it was with Ancelotti and it was a 2 up top, wasn't it, as well? So he had someone to kind of help
both
a little bit.
Yeah.
He's struggling. I'd like to put him above Fofana, but he's down that end, sure.
Yeah, he has to go down that end. The amount of games that it's been 1-1, 0-0 for Everton, and they've needed him to put chances away and be the difference, and he's not.
OK.
OK, let's go on to Rodrigo Muniz, shall we?
Player of the month.
Yeah, Premier League Player of the Month.
Fantastic video as well. I mean, is it 8 goals, I think he's scored in his last 10 games, something like that. He's been unbelievable recently.
Still only 22 as well.
Yeah, testament to Marco Silva and his man management, his patience. It was Marco Silva that brought him in, that saw something in him. and it was a bit of a rocky start to his Fulham career. But we're seeing now what he's all about. He's scoring scissor kicks now. He's full of confidence.
You talk about the season, he's taken his opportunity. He was probably third choice, maybe.
Yeah.
And now he's become the main man, a great FPL asset as well for me this year as well. So, yeah, I think there's a space here for him.
Yeah.
Really?
So
the season he's had?
So I think
I think that's a bad shout.
Yeah, that kind of shout.
I'm fascinated to know what his ceiling's going to be like, actually, because he's been... You can put him next to Havertz if you want. On the...
Go on then, player of the month. There's another award for you on the top.
Next one, a player that a lot of people talk about on social media, Darwin Nunez. I perfectly put the opinion splitter indeed. 21 starts, 30 appearances, 11 goals, 8 assists. I mean, this man really splits opinion, Jimbo, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he creates so much, and, you know, I throw a lot of stats out there, and the conversion rate stat for him is bad, it's 11%, but he creates so much more than others. I like him. I kind of changed my mind over the sort of year with him. I just think he's so enjoyable. In terms of being clinical, I mean, I think we kind of now know that that's not totally him. But I think the goals that he scored, when I looked at that, it should be higher.
19 goal involvements this season.
Yeah, it's impressive.
So that's a really good point, actually. His sort of link-up play with the players around him is actually really, really strong. But his goals...
Yeah, underperform XG by 4.
You're right about the splitting opinion there, because there's 2 stats here which are mind-blowing. Minus 4.1 XG underperformance, which is the second worst, which is obviously a negative, but the third best minutes-to-goal involvement ratio of any striker, which is a positive.
Yeah.
I mean, that sums him up, doesn't it? I mean...
this sounds crazy, because I've always loved Darwin.
Yeah.
But I don't think being a striker comes instinctively to him. But he's very, very good. He's very, very useful. He's obviously, as an athlete and as a powerhouse of a person, as a relentless figure, he's fantastic. I think he just needs to fine-tune that nature as a striker. Because if you look at his runs in behind, he's always looking to make a run behind. If you watch him, it's just constant. Come on, find me. And he gets really frustrated if you don't find him. And he's constantly making those runs. Sometimes he'll find himself offside. But then he's pressing when he's off the ball as well. He won a penalty versus Man City through that pressing. You know, he's brought his own use, his own thing to Liverpool this season that without, they would not be where they are.
I think he's missed having Trent for a bit of the season.
Where's he going then?
He's definitely got better. I think he's here. I mean, maybe even in that space there. The thing I would say with him is... If you're through on goal, sometimes there's players, Kane or Watkins right now, you go, goal. Yeah. You don't do that with him, and until he does that, it's going to be a bit of a problem.
Okay, Carlton Morris.
Next up.
He's scored a lot of goals, fair few penalties as well, but he's been pretty influential, hasn't he? 9 goals this season.
Important player for Luton. Yeah,
he's been important when he's had those opportunities. He's been reliable for them. And Luton Town's a fascinating one because they've come into the league with this fight till the end attitude. I'm glad that you've done that.
Yeah, well done, Jim.
Corner from my eyes.
Readying in for Carlton Morris.
The club don't know when to give up. The players don't know when to give up. The fans don't. And he's bought into that. You need all the players back putting in the steps in or you'll concede kind of thing. So it's a different role as a striker to be in that Luton Town team.
Where would you put him?
But he's done it well. I would say you can't really send him too far up, though.
I think there's a space. I see that space here. The thing is, he's perfect for Luton as well. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, you think of, say, like Billy Sharp with Sheffield United. I think I could see him being synonymous and useful for that club for a long time.
I know what you mean.
Quality-wise, is he as complete as many people in here? Maybe not. So I think he's probably down that half. You might have a third row, and you could put.
Yeah, you can make a third row.
Yeah, make a third row.
Nieve, you decide.
You stick
to a third row. You
stick him on Nieve. We've got some big Nieve.
I like
Stick
that.
him on Nieve,
I
and
like
we'll get to the next player. While you're readying the magnet, Erling Haaland.
Here we go.
Here we go. Indeed.
Jimbo, you've done a whole video on him, haven't you, recently?
Yeah.
I watched it.
Yep, and so this season, in comparison to last season, sort of miles off in terms of he's getting the same amount of chances without going into stage too much, but he is not taking them. He's missed a lot of chances. I think the style of chance, he's been missing that beautiful pass from Kevin De Bruyne that we saw last season. I think it was 16 assists that De Bruyne gave him last year. You can see in his body language he's not totally right. The thing I've got to say is isn't he currently the top scorer?
I was just about to say, when you say miles off, we do have to give it perspective. He is the top scorer, equal to Cole Palmer in the Premier League this season.
If he carries on this rate, though, he will be 9 goals worse off than he was.
But aren't we judging him by his own incredible heights? If he'd have scored 20 goals last season, we'd be saying he's having an amazing season because he broke every record under the sun last season.
With him...
Are we not comparing him to his own heights here?
But I think you have to with him because that's what he brings to a team, goal scoring. That's his asset. That's what makes him the striker that would be at the top of this list, is if he can carry on that goal scoring. Because if you look at Watkins, for example, when Manchester City don't bring him into the game, when they don't get that service to him, his impact on them, on the pitch, is minimal compared to someone like Watkins. So he has to have that height.
I think they play slightly differently, but I absolutely agree with Nieve, the fact that in the judgment of Haaland and his career, especially at Man City, it's going to be binary. Are you scoring goals or are you not? And he is scoring goals, but to your point, not to the same level. What I would say is that between now and the end of the season, will he score more goals than any other player in this league? I think if you're picking anyone, you're probably still going to go for him, despite the woes of the last week.
Let's get him out there. Where you
putting him?
So I want to make a suggestion. I would move Solanke to the left above Nunez there, so it would be those two on the same level.
And
you think Solanke and Nunez the same level season?
Yeah, just in different
ways. And you'd put Haaland
100%.
above Solanke, OK.
And and then I would put Haaland onto...
See, you guys want this perfectly square.
No, you can put it wherever. You don't have to put it...
Go on, that's fine.
I've got to have Solanke just to...
Right, we've got a few more to get to.
We have
some big names as well.
We need to get a bit of a move on with some of these.
Right, we've got
so much disrespect to him.
Got to go to the next ones.
Rasmus Hojlund.
You feel strong, Nieve. I can't have that.
Got to get to Hojlund.
Rasmus Hojlund. Yeah, I think... The issue is whether or not Hojlund and the lack of goals, is it down to him? Is it a skill-based issue or is it a lack of being able to find him issue? I personally think it's the latter.
OK.
You know, for example, the last 4 games, you look at he's not scored in those games, but actually has even been shooting in those games.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like that.
He's taken as many shots since Christmas as Haaland's missed big chances, or missed chances.
Wow.
There's no shots going on there. The service doesn't feel like it's there at the moment. The connection doesn't really feel like it's there, despite the fact he went through that fantastic run of 7 games, 7 goals. I think there's a really talented player. I think he's a fantastic
You're a big fan of
footballer.
his, aren't you?
Absolutely. I think in a different system, you know, if Rasmus Hojlund was up front for Arsenal, I think he would be scoring bucket loads of goals.
I agree with you. And I think that purple patch where he scored those goals, he took every chance. He had to because he was getting no more.
He was actually finding those goals. People weren't finding him to make those goals.
I think it'd be hard pressed to find a single Man United fan who has a problem with his performance. It's the team. It's the team.
Where are you putting him?
Yeah.
Jackson role?
I would perhaps, I would have said somewhere around this area, perhaps somewhere like that.
OK.
Yeah, I'm OK with that. Yeah, like
Next up, player that I'm a big fan of, Alexander Isak. Love watching this player. I just think he's got so much about him. 17 goals, 1 assist in 24 appearances.
There's a hole up there.
Where does he go?
I want to put him in. That's why this is my
sticking him straight in?
thinking. I would like to put him in between Haaland.
All right, straight in then.
yeah, I totally agree.
No mucking about.
Really easy one. He's
OK, we all agree with that.
He is on fire at the moment and so complete.
Isak's actually my favourite striker in the league.
Yeah,
I think Watkins has had the better season. Isak's obviously had injuries as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of that classic, natural throwback number 9...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He's just so reliable. Turns out.
Total agreement there, Joe.
Yeah, Forest, Chris Wood. Big season, 12 goals. Again, this guy is a machine at hitting double figures in the Premier League.
Nuno likes him, doesn't he? After that,
Who wouldn't?
Performed well under him.
So his conversion rate is 39%.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Best in the league
Best
by a mile.
conversion rate of any striker.
That's so wild.
4.2 XG over performance, Chris Wood.
So he's not really getting any chances, and he's taken every single one of them. Forest fans love him. Newcastle fans not as sure on him. I think in terms of like the stock that he had at the start of the season to the stock that he's had now, I think he's got to be in this area for me, just because, you know, of what he's done this year. And if they stay up, it's hugely down to him. Awani struggles to stay fit a lot of the time, so you kind of need both of those guys and both of them to sort of be firing. And I think he's done so well.
He defends really well in his own box as well. He's really useful when they're defending the corner Forest. So that goes a long way to staying up. So, yeah, 100%. I think maybe around that.
Next up, Oli McBurnie at Sheffield United. On our cold to hot scale, where do you place him?
I want to bring it down here.
Yeah. I think, look, the Sheffield United squad has not been good enough, and we knew that in the summer when they sold their best players and didn't really bring in any better players. And McBurnie, sadly, is part of that squad, and just not good enough. I think of this list, I think he's probably, sadly, the least best.
Okay.
Put it that way.
All right, let's get Ollie up, and then we'll move on to Sonny.
What a guy.
He's played a lot of minutes through the middle, man. Lots of minutes through.
5.7 GXG over performance, which is the biggest in the league. I mean, such a consistent player for Tottenham.
Technically brilliant, so clinical. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of his.
I don't think they've been as reliant on him post-Kane, ironically, as a goal scorer. But actually, that's made him even better.
Yeah,
but then in those big games, when they play tough teams, you need someone to lead the charge. You notice it's him. He got the 2 goals v Arsenal. He scored versus Liverpool as well. Got a goal versus Man City and assisted as well in that game. So, yeah, he's as useful as ever.
Got to be right.
Haaland realm then?
Yeah, I had him around here.
Yeah.
Below Haaland?
There, Roger went there. From behind Haaland.
You think Darwin numbers this season?
I would go. No,
Outscored him, more assists than him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Next, you can put next to Nunez, anything? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bowen.
Last few then. Bowen, another good season.
No penalties.
15 goals, 5 assists, no pens. Yeah.
I mean, he's not a striker for me.
But he has played as a
Yes,
striker.
I saw that. I think, look, ideally, he won't be playing striker in August. That's what I'm saying. And I think Antonio's been fit. He hasn't always been fit. You've not had other strikers who can step in. They sold Skamaka, didn't they? So he's come in and done a great job. Such a good finisher, absolute born finisher. And so he's done a good job for the team there and had a good season overall. But yeah, I'm kind of weirdly deducting in points from the fact that he's not a striker.
So just behind Son, do you think? Just Nunez, is that with?
Oh, I want to put him in that gap there that's on the right.
Oh, with Son. Haaland, Son, Bowen. Okay.
Yeah. Stick him up.
You've got to bear in mind, West Ham, they've got 20-30% possession in games.
He's overperforming his XG.
He's been clinical.
He's overperforming his XG by 5.5, basically the same as Son.
Yeah.
Last one.
Yeah, good. Well.
So just quickly, the last one. Matheus Cunha.
Most underrated forward of all of these, I think. He's been astonishing. I absolutely love him. That goal against Forest, where he picked it up in his own half, he runs for it, he makes the Forest defenders look slow. It creates a goal by himself. He's brilliant. His runs into the box have been brilliant as well.
OK, where do you place our final player? I've enjoyed this.
I would like
New
to
scale.
put him...
11 goals he's got.
I would like to put him on the right of Bowen there. I'd like
The right? Whoa, better than
no,
Son?
Sorry, no.
Wow.
No.
And
It's
Bowen.
just... Well, can we put him
Below-
right there?
you
So
can.
it's like it's...
Yeah.
OK, you want him above these guys?
Above
You
them,
think he's had a
but-
better season than Solanke?
Wow.
Yeah, honestly, I do. I really
OK.
do.
Well, let's ask...
So good.
We'll ask the viewers what they think. There is confirmation of every Premier League striker.
I think think Solanke's been done dirty there.
Yeah. Let us know what you think at home. Ollie Watkins, #1.